What's up, my peeps? Ronnie P's back with another one. Here on today's video, we're actually going to talk about the future of Raleigh. So for those of you who want to know what does Raleigh consist of, not only now, but what it may be later, you're going to want to watch this one. What's going on, everybody? It's Ronnie Polynice here. If this is your first time here, welcome. If not, welcome back. And while I have your attention, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell so you are notified every time I do a video with you, sharing with you exactly what it's like to live, eat, sleep, play all in Raleigh, North Carolina. Now, just as much as I enjoy making those videos, I am a licensed realtor here. So if you have any questions, you need help relocating, or you want to know something specific, my number is going to pop up right there. Make sure to give me a call, shoot me a text, email, day or night, heck, maybe even on the weekends. Always remember, I got your back in this market, and I love getting those reach outs from you guys because it helps me do exactly what it is I'm looking to do. So some of you that are watching this are probably thinking to yourself, you know, I'm actually considering moving to Raleigh. And some of you actually may be watching this and even saying, I don't know if I should stay in Raleigh, given everything that is going on in this city. Now, I will say, that's a fair question to ask yourself, because no one knows what the future holds of Raleigh. But this video is intended to help you understand what I am seeing. Maybe that will give you the guidance on what decision should you make. Should you move here? Should you stay? Or is it time for you to get out? You know, one of the things I could say about Raleigh, North Carolina, it's in a growing state. If you're willing to grow with any state, this might be something that you want to look at. I personally think this is going to be one of the largest hubs for whether you're in the tech industry or you're in the healthcare. Outside of that, I don't know exactly what's to come, but those are two major industries that I see that North Carolina is really striving going after. I mean, if you look, and if you haven't heard on the news yet, there's a lot of hubs. The biggest hub of all is, especially in the tech industry, is Apple. If you didn't know, now you know. Apple will be relocating one of their headquarters, and it's one of the first headquarters on the East Coast. So you're going to want to stay in tune for that and whatever may come with it. Now, of course, the infrastructure being here, it's growing. Nothing is set in stone. Everything is kind of, on its pace. The infrastructure here is just not great here. I personally think, and I could assure you that based off of what I see on a daily basis, that everything is getting put together. And if you could weather the storm for a short period of time, however long that period of time is, I think you're going to be excited to what is to come and what you may actually live in or what you may move into. And so what gives me the confidence to say this, I mean, if you see a lot of construction being done here, and you hear all the stories about what's getting done here, all you see is a ton of, especially in the downtown area, every single construction site, it's there, every single person, every company, they're all building up. Typically you'll find a lot of times where you go to different states, cities, wherever you're trying to travel to, you'll see not as many high rises, and you'll see a lot of the city building wide rather than building up. Here in Raleigh, you're going to just see constantly of building up, which is going to consist of course, multifacets of different things. I mean, some of the few things that come to mind off the top of my head is office space. You're going to have, of course, your apartments. You may even have co-working spaces for you entrepreneurs out there. Hey, there's going to be spaces out there for you as well. Another thing that I've heard, now I haven't visited this state, but if you have, you can make the comparison. But I've heard a lot of individuals speak about Austin a lot and say where Raleigh is heading is very similar to what Austin has. Now, given what Austin has, I think if I'm not mistaken, what I've heard correctly, their highway infrastructure is just chaotic there. It wasn't built out properly. So hopefully that's what Raleigh doesn't make the same mistake there. I always thought that, because this is where I've come from, I'm from up north, so New York was always the resemblance that Raleigh, North Carolina gave me. Now, it's not nearly as close as it, but just kind of the building up aspect, having a ton of high rises, offices, and especially being or working downtown, then you can kind of get that feel. At least I got that feel. Now, you may get your own feel based off of what you have seen, what you have experienced in your lifetime, but one of the major comparisons that I hear a lot is Austin. So that's something to keep in mind, and that's a good comparison that you can make to see, is Raleigh, North Carolina a market that you even want to grow into, or do you want to just stay away from it because Austin, you don't even like what's going on there? Now, before I start talking a bunch about what is going on here and what the future may hold and all sorts of other things, I want to just pinpoint and just talk about really quickly here what needs to be improved. Not only what needs to be improved, what is currently being developed, to give you an idea of, hey, what should you be looking at to see if this is making progress or if they're actually behind, and then hopefully that could help you make a decision. But I'll start off by saying the public transportation system, if you need it, this is one of those states that is very, very car dependent. So, if you need any sort of train stations nearby, you need the bus, it's, yes, they're here, but it's not relatively used. It's not even something that is, I think, fully effective just quite yet. So keep your eyes and keep tuned on to what's going on in North Carolina. Keep watching my videos because I'll talk about this periodically here and there just to give you guys a little bit more insight of what is actually happening here so that you can better assist and make good decisions on whether you should be in Raleigh, North Carolina or not. But not only are the buses and the train stations not up to par maybe to what you want it to be or what you experienced, but there is an Amtrak here. Amtrak does stop into Cary, North Carolina. I believe they do have a stop location as well in Raleigh. So you do have two hubs that are nearby. I've used the Amtrak once and I've went to Charlotte and I've spoke about this story before, but I wouldn't do it again. It just was an experience that I enjoyed. I didn't want to. I'd much rather get in my car and take that 3-hour drive and do it that way than to go through the Amtrak aspect. But if you got to do it, you got to do what you got to do, right? Then you have the interstates, which I kind of spoke about a little bit beforehand just today here on this video, but the interstate's being worked on as well. So you'll see a ton of the construction going on, and as I drive on these different interstates and the highways that surround Raleigh or even going into Raleigh, you see that they're making the expansion. Currently, they're about 2 to 3 lanes. I personally believe that they're probably going to push it to 4 on both sides going north and south. I should say east to west because that's typically what is used here. But depending on which side you're on, you're probably going to have 4 lanes. Sometimes you'll probably go to 3, depending on, of course, what interstate that you're on. But there's expansion going on there. And when there's expansion going on interstates, you for sure know that this transportation department knows it and they're trying to prepare for it as quickly as possible. So that is something. Now, I know I talked about the train station not being up to par. So something you can actually look at is the local commuter rail trail that is actually being put together. I don't know how far along the lines they are on this one, but I think if this one gets developed and it actually speaks on what exactly that they're trying to do, this will be great for those individuals that don't want to be car dependent, or better yet, they just kind of don't want to get behind the wheel for the day. So again, this is another thing you can look out for. I really do think that the future for Raleigh is bright. I mean, and that's only from my perspective of speaking, because this is kind of what I'm looking for. This is what I want. Now, of course, everyone may have something different to say on this, but when you have a lot of rezoning going on and you have a lot of projects going in and around Raleigh, I mean, you can only expect more and more opportunities that are going to arise from those. And that's really what I think I strive on. I strive on more opportunities, and if you strive on that as well, depending on where you are in your career or where you're even trying to be to set yourself, your family, your kids, whoever else is tagging along with you, then this may be a place that you look at, because again, opportunities are going to be here. They're coming constantly, and this is just the beginning of it. From time to time, I have to look at Raleigh completely different because it has a different feel from even when I was here. And when I first moved here in 2018, which again, wasn't that long ago, right? It wasn't what was going on now. I think what happened in the past 2 years, that has definitely picked the pace up for a lot. No one was anticipating it. I think every project and everything along the lines of what we're talking about here today was already planned. But obviously what happened in the past couple of years, things changes, the economy changed. That sparked a lot of projects to really take an effect, everyone moving, and then it gave everyone an idea of what should they really be focused in on. And that is what really, I think, sparked everything to really get Raleigh rolling that it is now. And the reason why I say that is because you even have projects that are going on in Raleigh that you'll have these major businesses, corporations, developers come into town and want to change the entire downtown perspective. And why I say that, because you'll see downtown, some of the areas that have office spaces, that have businesses, they actually operate not out of buildings, but they actually operate out of an older home that they have re-renovated on the inside and essentially made it their office space. So you'll see a lot of those, but you'll also hear a lot of stories in which I can go ahead and share with you guys this story right here of the First Char Grill location. If you can see it here, you'll see that the developers are actually trying to replace it and tear things down to put probably a whole bunch of multi-units in it. I'm not exactly sure, but you can then take a look at, of course, the type of houses that I was referring to. So you can see that these houses are pretty old, and they're actually businesses that are operating out of these homes. Now, I hope that gave you an understanding of what needs to be prepared and kind of what is to come to Raleigh and what's actually being worked on at the same time. So if you do have any additional questions, concerns, or anything you need help with relocating to the Raleigh, North Carolina area, make sure to give me a call, shoot me a text, email, day or night, heck, maybe even on the weekends. Always remember, I got your back in this market, and share a few things with me that you're looking for so that we can best fit and best find that place for you. Now let's get to the upgrades. Let's get to the things that Raleigh's actually doing now in active projects. That's what I really want to share with you guys, so you guys can really see it for yourself that, you know, where is Raleigh even heading? Again, I could share with you my perspective, but my perspective is also small in comparison to what you may actually want to hear. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you a few projects that are going on here, and they're not going to be in any particular order. In fact, I'm not going to even go in depth on the projects in itself because I'm going to leave these resources for you to be able to go ahead and look at them some more. I just want you to be fully aware of the type of projects that are going on here so that you can see, is that a project, is that a good project, or is that a bad project based off of your lifestyle? And so the very first one that I'll talk about is the infamous circular downtown hotel inn that is actually going to be replaced. What I mean replaced, they're going to demolish it. They're going to put in a luxury, I believe it's a luxury hotel space and apartments. I don't think they're going to have office space there, given that the location that it's in, it's relatively close to downtown, even Glenwood South. So you have that access, you have the accessibility to go within the two and be able to do it, whatever it is that you have to do. But yes, I call it infamous. I call it very historical because everyone remembers it, everyone knows it, everyone sees it, and it's a weird spot where it is, and I think it's time for an upgrade on it. Some people may say, no, we got to leave the historical things and the things that call its name of Raleigh and what Raleigh needs to be known for. But you know, sometimes hopefully the developer that is doing what they're doing, it actually turns out to be a better investment and it actually reaps the rewards and people can reap the benefits of it. But that's one of the major things that I think is being changed. I think when that was announced, everyone was talking about it. It was literally the talk of the town. And you could really take a look at the project in itself and to see. Now, I don't know exactly where they are. Again, if you want to look at the project in itself and keep tabs on it, you are free to do so. There are going to be resources below that you can go ahead and do so. The next one I'm going to talk about is actually for the LGBT community. And the reason why I want to bring it up, because I think what is happening here is very historical. It's when I saw this, I was like, wow, this is actually happening right in front of our eyes. This is actually one of Raleigh's nightclub. It's called Legends Nightclub, in which it's actually going to be transformed into a mixed use. If I'm not mistaken, the bottom end is going to be storefronts in which a lot of individuals can go in there, and then of course on the top end you're going to see a whole bunch of maybe apartments, maybe even office spaces, or probably places that condos people that can go ahead and purchase. I'm not exactly sure. If I'm not mistaken here, it's going to share a ton of plan proposals. Now, of course, as we get closer and we can get an identity and a feel of what is even planned and what has been approved, then we can have a better understanding of what's going on here. The very last project I'm going to talk about that could change the future of Raleigh, North Carolina, is what's happening on the east side of Raleigh, which is downtown south. So on the east side of Raleigh, I actually have someone here who actually pours a lot of time and attention in tapping into these videos. And I want to give thanks to John LaBus. If I'm mispronounced that, sorry. He actually is an individual that leaves a ton of information about the Raleigh, North Carolina area. If I'm not mistaken, he is a native in the area, so he is able to share with you a ton of what has changed, what Raleigh was up until the point of 2018, where I could then speak on that. But he can even share a little bit more because, again, depending on what he sees, may be different from what I'm seeing. But that's someone you're going to want to, see what comments has he left on my videos, because he has left a ton of information. I know one thing for certain. He says on the east side, there's a ton of single family homes. So there goes that aspect of building wide rather than up. However, what is the Downtown South project even all about? It's going to be, so I don't know if you've heard, it was on the news like maybe a year ago a lot, and I haven't seen much change. Of course, they acquired the land, so everything is set in stone. It's just a matter of getting the project started. And it's going to be this one massive soccer stadium that's probably going to have a whole bunch of stores all around it. Not only is there going to be a ton of stores, but of course, with stores, there's going to be probably a ton of dining areas that you can go to, and maybe even places that you can live. But I will keep in mind, if you do decide to live in this area, hopefully they do make it pedestrian friendly as well, with large sidewalks so you guys can kind of walk the community at the same time. However, if you do consider living there, you might want to be aware of this. There probably will be a ton of concerts, loud music, anything of that nature, given that it is going to be a new space in the downtown area. And of course, North Carolina, they have a ton of outdoor events, especially outdoor concerts, because again, we have great weather. Better half of the year, so of course we can all take advantage of that. But be cognizant of that. If you don't like the loud music, now of course nothing is set in stone. We don't know what's to come, but that's just something that I wanted to let you guys know about, especially how North Carolina, Raleigh works out and what typically happens here. Hopefully that can give you some ideas of maybe you get even closer to being down there, or maybe you actually stay away from it simply for that reason. But that soccer stadium is truly indeed is hopes of bringing one professional, well, not even one, but two, because we already have one, the hockey team. Hopefully this can bring a second professional team to the area, in which, again, we can all be raving fans of those individuals that are playing for the city of Raleigh. At the moment, this is just exactly what I'm seeing. Not only that, this is a few things that's going on, and there's many more that's actually happening. I'm just not going to try to keep up with it and share with you everything. I just want to share with you some of the key points that I think is going to change Raleigh's future. And those are the few that I found that I was like, I think I need to share this with someone so that they understand and they get a feel of what is happening here without even having to be here. I think that's the best part. You don't have to run, you don't have to walk, you don't have to drive through the city and to see these things. You can just, sit down and watch these videos to get an understanding of what is happening here and what may the future hold for you, whether you're already here or whether you're actually thinking about moving here. One thing for certain, I am excited about the future. I cannot wait to see what this all resorts from. I'm curious to know for myself, am I right or am I wrong? So, being able to record this and actually having this up there, and we can look back at this 5-10 years later, we're going to actually see if I was completely wrong or completely right. But this is why I enjoy doing these videos, because I'm sharing with you exactly what it's like to live, eat, sleep, play all in Raleigh, North Carolina. And just as much as I enjoy making these videos for you, I am a licensed realtor, and I would love nothing more but the opportunity to help you relocate here. And if you do have any questions, concerns, or anything of that nature, my number is popping up right there. Make sure to give me a call, shoot me a text, email, day or night, heck, maybe even on the weekends. Always remember, I got your back in this market. Peace out.